She was treading in very dangerous waters. They told her stuff, and she kept track of it. One of the detectives was convinced the scene was staged. Those are the words of best-selling author James Patterson. He's written a new book about Marilyn Monroe, alleging that she was murdered. So what really happened inside Marilyn Monroe's Brentwood home the night she died back in 1962? Was it a tragic overdose or a silencing? Tonight, we dive into the mystery that refuses to die itself.
Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning journalist, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. This is the global phenomenon that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime. But tonight, it is me riding solo, and one of the most enduring, intriguing mysteries of our time here in the United States of America, in all of American history, and now best-selling author James Patterson has just detonated a new bombshell. And no, that is not a news cliche in this regard. We're talking about an American icon, Marilyn Monroe. You know, the beautiful blonde standing over that grate with her dress blown in the wind, Hollywood's brightest star at one time. He now says, James Patterson, the best-selling author, that she may have been murdered, and instead she was silenced because of what she knew and who she knew. James Patterson specifically pointing to her ties to President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, Frank Sinatra, old blue eyes from my old home, Hoboken, New Jersey, where he is from, Frank Sinatra, and that even organized crime figures have long fueled this rumor that perhaps she was murdered. But James Patterson here, he claims he has uncovered new reasons to question the official story. Tonight, we break down exactly what he is saying, why he's saying it, what the media is now running with, and what the actual evidence and past investigations, what they all tell us. Man, a few weeks ago, we had Eli Frankel, author of Sisters in Death, about Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia, that is one of America's, if not America's, most famous cold cases. Well, here's another one about Marilyn Monroe, now being given a completely different twist by, again, best-selling author James Patterson. So what is the official story with Marilyn Monroe that we've been told for the last 62 years? Marilyn Monroe, she died August 4th, 1962. That was 7 years approximately before yours truly was born. She died in Brentwood, which was then a beautiful city, part of Los Angeles County, and remains a beautiful city with very expensive and glamorous homes. The autopsy ruled her death by acute barbiturate poisoning. The coroner labeled it a quote-unquote probable suicide. Investigators there reported no signs of struggle, no forced entry, empty pill bottles at her bedside. Imagine being a detective in Los Angeles County in 1962. I don't know if any of them are still around. And now, very unlikely, but now, all these years later, 62 years later, I guess it's possible, all these years later, and you are the investigator for arguably the biggest icon ever to grace the stage in the United States of America, or anywhere else in the world for that matter. Authorities ruled her death a probable suicide, again, citing a drug overdose. There was no credible evidence that supported murder, and that goes all the way back to the 1982 reinvestigation by the Los Angeles DA. They did a reinvestigation. The narrative of this drug overdose is held for decades, mainly because toxicology supported the overdose. Marilyn Monroe had a history of depression, medication abuse, not unlike Elvis Presley, and prior suicidal gestures. Again, the case was briefly reopened in 1982, the year I had my bar mitzvah. But who's competing? But again, that reinvestigation concluded no evidence of homicide. That is the official truth. And now it is something which James Patterson is going against the grain of. So he enters the chat and he's got a new thriller out, a true crime thriller. It's called The Last Days of Marilyn Monroe. The subtitle is literally a true crime thriller, and it has ignited really a media storm around him. His key claims, let's go through them. Marilyn Monroe, he says, had dangerous information involving very powerful men. It included relationships with JFK, RFK, Frank Sinatra, and even mob bosses, the mafioso, the old mobsters. She kept track, apparently, according to James Patterson's research, obsessively kept track of the information that she was given, information that could have ruined careers, even could have potentially destabilized world power. So it was no small thing. She had the inside track on a lot of things. So according to James Patterson, direct quote, she was treading, as I said early on, in very dangerous waters. They told her stuff. She kept track of it. And that information, he says, was kind of dangerous. He argues he too, but she wasn't just famous. She was just utterly connected, and suggests that she knew what might have made her a threat to others and possibly was using those threats against these very powerful figures. Now, it is important to point out that the book does include a fictional disclaimer, and that complicates things a bit. So parts of the book are fictionalized or dramatized for the reader's pleasure. So there's a bit of a blurring of the lines between what is real and what is not, and that is a crucial nuance. But nevertheless, James Patterson's claims are being treated seriously enough that media outlets from Fox, The Independent, Esquire, Hollywood Reporter, they are all now reporting on this. So it's a very interesting story in terms of the media attention it's getting all these years after the fact. Now, let's talk about the alleged cover-up, the autopsy issues, all of this. Now, the autopsy was, quote-unquote, incomplete. Patterson suggests it lacked the thoroughness that you would expect for a death of such magnitude. He says, a direct quote here, the autopsy was not as complete as it should have been. A detective, according to him, allegedly believed that the scene was staged. This is one of his most sensational claims in this book. He was absolutely convinced, this detective was, according to James Patterson, that the scene was staged. So what would staging look like? Why would someone stage an overdose scene? What do investigators from the 1960s and 1980s, why do they disagree with this interpretation, and what documentation is there really out there? Let's get into it. There's an alternative timeline that was brought up in the Esquire Netflix docuseries. It was a documentary called The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, The Unheard Tapes. Again, The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, The Unheard Tapes. And you may have seen that on Netflix. New witnesses came forward for that, and timelines resurfaced. And so, according to these people who made this documentary, Marilyn Monroe may have actually been found unresponsive at 10:30 p.m., not 3:30 a.m., as the official report says. So again, she may have been found unresponsive at 10:30, not 3:30, as the official report says, and that would contradict the narrative. EMTs who arrived on scene allegedly claimed that she was still alive when transported. Now, these are not the claims of James Patterson. These are the claims that are coming up, but are again now bubbling to the surface because of James Patterson's book. But these came up in the Netflix docuseries. This allegation that she may have died en route to a hospital, and then that's why they believe maybe she was returned home for staging. An attendant signaled that something was going wrong, an attendant in the home, in the mansion, that something was not right at 10:30. Again, she was taken to a hospital alive that night before being returned home later. This is according to reporting done by Esquire magazine, which does a lot of entertainment-esque reporting. And a lot of this also comes from testimony decades after her death. So there is the plausibility and possibility that memory can distort, a person's history, the way they see it. But they are compelling contradictions, enough to get the attention of the media and enough for her story to once again resurface, and for people like James Patterson to say that perhaps she was murdered and did not die of a drug overdose. Now, I don't need to tell you, she is a cultural icon. So that is one of the reasons that this mystery just simply won't die, or people are latched onto it. And it matters now because of that, because she is such a big icon. People want a final truth. Now, there is a final report here, but at least James Patterson is not letting it go so easily. And either is that Esquire documentary series, produced in part by Esquire, that appeared on Netflix. There's tragedy involved here. There's fame involved here. There's vulnerability. There's glamour. The stories about her death tap into what we were saying earlier: politics, celebrity, organized crime, the excesses of 1960s Hollywood with the popping of pills and the drinking of alcohol. All that was really prevalent. And now Patterson's book, that is being talked about, it's being talked about everywhere, from Fox News, as I said, to Esquire, to people.com, you name it, TMZ. They've all been discussing this as of late. And you couple that with the fact that we're living at a time of institutional distrust. I mean, you've got the president of the United States calling the media fake news, and you've got politicians under incredible scrutiny these days with some of the lowest approval ratings on both sides of the aisle. So there's just a sense of overall distrust and people covering things up. I mean, there's all this talk about disclosure and UFOs. By the way, the highest viewed video we have ever done wasn't even a true crime video. It was a UFO video. Has like 700,000 views. So we're just living in an odd time where people are questioning institutional knowledge and what people know. So this book really has ignited sort of a tinderbox of debate over what really happened to Marilyn Monroe. And so we end this with a question. Are we just looking at a tragic overdose here? Or is it something more? Is it a political cover-up? Or just simply an enduring Hollywood mystery that no one wants to let go? Because you've got this beautiful young woman at the center of all of this. She dated Joe DiMaggio, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, she was dating Yankees stars back in the day. She was dating future presidents and senators, all these powerful people, mob bosses. I mean, these are the things that novels are written about. And is that why James Patterson wrote this? The guy, if he knows how to do one thing, he knows how to sell books. So, as always, let me know how I'm doing, just like Ed Koch. Also, as always, it's the holidays right now. I have written a better book than this, in my own humble opinion, and there are no inaccuracies or potentially false narratives in my book. It's about my mom, my ADC right over my right shoulder right there, and over my, oh, wow, she's on both sides of me. The strongest woman I know. She survived the Holocaust as a child. While I was writing this book, my father was in the process of going to the other side. My mother lost a child from a genetic illness. All these things she talks about in the book, and how to cope with life and come out through the other side. That photo you see behind us was actually taken in an area of Miami called Wynwood. And I cropped her head out there because I like the sunglasses. And we put that explicit label over her mouth because she likes to drop F-bombs. But the day we took that picture, she was actually hanging out and caressing a long boa constrictor in Wynwood in Florida, a snake. She was hanging out with a snake around her shoulders. That's the kind of woman she is at 86 years old. So I promise you, that's the QR code for the book. It's the holidays. It's on Audible. People will like it. It's not because of me. It's not because of the way I wrote the book. It's the message and messages that she has. But what about Marilyn Monroe? Was she murdered? Was it a drug overdose? Is James Patterson just trying to sell books? Look nowhere else but below to the comment section. Leave me a comment. Leave a reply. Let me know what you think. And one day, hopefully, we will have a definitive answer. Steve Cohen's going to try to get James Patterson on this show, and maybe he will finally reveal the absolute truth. Until then, we'll see you on the flip side. Love you, America. Let's get final justice for America's most famous Hollywood icon, Marilyn Monroe. We love you, Marilyn. We miss you. I wasn't around to see you, but you live on film, and that's all I need.